This video is going to be covering navigation within Bluebeam projects and sessions. So to start us off, you'll see this, which is the invitation you often receive that gets you into Bluebeam. This invitation includes a 9-digit number, which you can see right here. It also includes a hyperlink. So if I click that hyperlink, typically I will enter right into Bluebeam. But if I don't, what I can do is I could copy that number or remember that number and come here to Bluebeam and get into that same Bluebeam Studio project or session. So we're going to talk about both projects and sessions today, but the place where we start is right here on the right-hand side, which is the Studio button. With that Studio button, you see right up here, there's a session and a projects button. Projects and sessions. And it's important to remember these icons and what they look like because you'll see them repeated. When you get an invitation to a session project and you open that project, I'll go ahead and open up one here. That project will open within your screen, and what you'll see are those same icons again repeated. You see them here and here. And the way you think of Bluebeam Studio projects is you think of it like a Dropbox. It's just a folder structure. So with that folder structure, we have our folders, and our three main folders within LAUSD are submission. This is where the architect is submitting the documents. We have archive, where the DM is archiving the files once they have been completed. And we have native files. So native files would be where you would find the Revit or AutoCAD files. Let's say you needed to send an AutoCAD or Revit file to a contractor. You would need access to this Bluebeam Studio project in order to get access to these files, in order to send those files. So with this, you have your project set up, and if you see, if I go into submissions into this folder, each one of these submissions is typically here. One thing to note is that there may be additional files that are not part of the session. You can see here there's one additional file here. Maybe it's a structural calc or some other calculation maybe that wasn't included in the section. You would need to come in here and look at that file. But when you're working in a project, in a studio project, you're really only working in a read-only environment. So you really only think of this area as where you would just come to reference a document, not where you would come to make any changes to that document or add any comments to that document. So now that we've seen that, I'm going to go ahead and close out of the project because we're really going to focus here on sessions because that's really where the majority of work is done within Bluebeam Studio. So within the session, and again, I've gone to the studio icon, I've gone to here. If I wasn't joining via a link or an invitation, I again could click this little plus sign, and you see there's a plus sign here for both of these. That's where you enter in that 9-digit code by clicking join and entering in a 9-digit code. That gets you into the session. Once you're in the session, what you'll see is the session name up at the top. And again, if you scroll out, you'll see that 9-digit code. You'll also see all the attendees of the session, all the other people performing a review with you. And you'll see what's most important, which is the documents here. So within the documents, you'll see the numbering structure. What's important to note is that the latest ones, the latest numbers indicate the most recent documents. So the 05 is the 100 CD, the 04 is that 50 CD. So as these numbers get bigger, that means you're getting into the later and later documents here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open up the drawing, and you see I just click on it to open it. One important thing to note here is as I'm working, there's no save button here. So as I'm working along, I'm not saving. I'm just working because when you're in a session, you're automatically saving. Another thing to note is this icon right here. So again, I'm in Bluebeam Studio, and once I've entered into Studio, I just want to make sure that this button stays connected. If it would happen to become disconnected, and you can see when it disconnects, it has a little red dot. If it happens to disconnect, then what happens is you may not be recording and saving your comments. So if you're starting to have problems in Bluebeam, the first place you want to look is right here. Okay, so with the documents, I've already opened my document, so I'm in pretty good shape now. I know that I can maneuver this document. When I make a markup, that markup is recorded here at the bottom in the markups list. And you have your other navigation menus for the drawings itself over here on the left. So that concludes maneuvering around Studio projects and sessions.